Morning, folks. Welcome to the countdown to kickoff for Leeds' first away game of the season, away at the Hawthorns to West Bromwich Albion. Looking to kickstart the season already after 2 games, 1 league, 1 cup. Leeds looking to get a result today. A win would ease a lot of nerves around the place. Joined by Lucky Leeds. Yes, snap. We are in the same gear because it's an away day. It's an all yellow away day. So, Lucky, how you doing? How you doing, mate? How are you?
Yeah, and I've not bought it. I've only got this one, I'm afraid. So all the rest are in these suitcases here. So this is the only top I've got out. So there's no other choice. I'm all right, man. I'm always, you know, Joe. You've been at Joe. I keep calling you Joe. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Joe.
3 letters and similar.
Yeah. I'm dyslexic as well, so they sound similar. I don't know. Any excuse. Anyway, back on track. Yeah, I'm always, once game day comes, you always, it's why you love football, in it, to watch football, and you're always, for me anyway, I always get a little excited come game day. And, being a coach, once game day's there, right, focus on now, let's get on with it. So yeah, mate, I'm all right. I'm feeling all right. In a few hours, maybe different, but right now, I'm all right.
Yeah, you're dead right. It's when you get to this part of the week, everything else that's happened this week doesn't matter. We will talk about some stuff that's happened during the week, but from a footballing perspective, nothing else matters except the match and getting into game mode and getting a result today. And it's hugely important. There's a lot of things to talk about. Lucky Daniel Farke's record against Carlos Corberán. Corberán has not lost to Daniel Farke as a Leeds manager, since Farke's been the Leeds United manager. That will need to get fixed. They also have one of the best home records in the division. If you go back to last season and into the start of this season, West Brom have had the best home record of any team in the league. They've had the most clean sheets of any side in the championship for championship matches. So he'll need to come up with an idea to get around that. And he's going to need to do it without Jorginho Rutter.
Yeah, that's the reality setting in, isn't it? George is not going to be there today. We're not going to see his smiley face. You're not going to see him doing tricks, him running down the line, dragging us forward. Yeah, it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird because I was not expecting that. So what's the team going to look like now without him? That's the most interesting thing, because we've lost our main source of creativity. And it's, there's good players in our side still, but are they creators? Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure they are.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be the question. They're going to step up today. The team sheet is out. I'm trying to pad here where I get a photograph. Funnily enough, looking for an up-to-date photograph of Joe Pirro. Very difficult. Very difficult. He's not photographed an awful lot in matches, so it's not been great trying to find a picture of him. But we'll While I'm digging, Lucky, tell us about what you expect to see from Leeds there, what you want to see from Leeds today going into this game.
Yeah, I mean, just purely off last week, you need to see a massive reaction. Then players need to prove to the manager that they believe in him, they trust in him. This is important now. Again, from a fan perspective, you want to see Leeds United play the identity of Leeds United. We need to be aggressive, front foot. Not be afraid to not concede, but if we want to win this game, they're a very well organised side. So there will be times where transitionally it's going to be end to end. We've got to be clinical. We've got to be deadly. I want to see our front players just be what they can be. Every single individual in our team today needs to step up for the loss of Jorginho. Like, he's not died, but you know what I mean? Step up for the loss of him in our side, and come to the top, because it is, because he's gone. You're missing all that. You can't replace that right now. We ain't got a replacement in. So everyone else needs to step their game up. And that's what I want to see. I just want to see a team react from what that was, because there's a lot of fans going down there that have paid a lot of money again, like we do every week. And they need to react to that, because that wasn't acceptable. It just simply wasn't. No. So reaction, mate. A reaction. A big reaction.
Lucky, do you buy the excuse, and it is for me an excuse, but do you buy the excuse that the players knew about Jorginho Rutter during the week and that put them off? And that was that went somewhere to blame the performance that we saw?
I think it can, to be fair. I actually think it can affect, and that's just from uni experience with losing top players. It does affect certain things, but it's not an excuse to play like that. You might feel a bit off it, but the weird thing for me was we actually started well. If it was the way around, it'd be more acceptable. I think it's a matter of when Georgie turns up to training that day or to the team bus that day, what did he feel like? Was he down? Do you know what I mean? Is he not his usual self? And that affects you, obviously, because then you're like, what's wrong with Georgie? And you find out. It does affect you, but it's not an excuse to go and play like that. Obviously not. That's not at all. We could all do that every day, couldn't we? I didn't feel great today, so I just decided not to turn up. And whether he was still here or not, playing like that isn't acceptable. And they would have been punished all week at training. They would have been told there's a standard at this club, and that's what you have to go by. Whether George is there or not, you've got to get on with it. Because how long are you going to allow that to dwell? It can't dwell. We're meant to be Leeds United. We're meant to be top of this league, front and centre. So to play like that is terrible. Now, what I will say is, and Joe, I did it again. Joe, you'll know this. It is that cliche. It is one game, but the key is get out of that as soon as possible. You can't let that, and it has in the past. Remember Crystal Palace when something happened in that second half, it was terrible and it dragged on and dragged on. Whatever's happened can't drag on. It's got to end now, and we've got to put a statement out there.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm laughing. Lee's got an agenda in the last couple of days. He's pushing this. Lee, we're gonna have to talk about the best man situation at the wedding. We're gonna have to sort out who the actual best man is and have him have a chat with you. So he's edging for an invite. We'll have to wait and see. People are going to need to step up today. For me, it's about a performance, Lockie. First and foremost, I want to see a performance, and I don't want to see a performance for 10 minutes and then a drop off. I want to see a consistent performance. There's no point in Leeds dominating the game for 10 minutes, scoring a goal, and then sitting so far back they concede again before halftime. For me, clean sheets are massively important, and we need to get back to keeping clean sheets. We've conceded far, far, far too many goals in recent weeks, and that needs to be fixed. But we have got a team sheet to talk about before we go through a shape piece. I do want to talk about the shape that I would be mindful of today going into the game. But this is our team going into today. We're going to see that one big change, and that's Joel Pirro coming in for for Jorginho Rutter. I'm already over him. I've forgotten his name already. We're done. Move past him. Mez in goal, Bogle, Firpo, your fullbacks, 2 centre-backs of Stroke, and Rodon. Your holding midfielder is Ampadu beside Ilya Gruev. Dan James and Willie Nanto wide on the wings. Joel Pirro in the 10, and Matteo Joseph up top back in the 9. Thoughts on the 11 so far, Lockie?
I think it's, apart from obviously Joe Pirro, which is a question with Rutter going, it's fairly what you'd expect, I think, isn't it? Apart from there's maybe a conversation for Rothwell, who played, who's the better player for us the other day, one that actually showed a bit of heart and willingness and want to go forward. I'm all right with that. You look at it there, and let's be real, it's still a ridiculous 11, isn't it? It really is. That's a very good 11. It lacks a lot of things. It lacks a lot of deep creativity. It still lacks box 8 for me. But as an 11, it's very, very good. Obviously, Matteo Joseph, as you got on the pick there, big day for him, big day today. He's been really good, I think. He's played one game, but he's been really good in that game. He showed a lot of good signs. But if he wants to get a start on the goals, this is the time for it. We're looking right now as a side to individuals to step up to what is left. That is key. And there's some big individuals in there with a lot of talent, and we need them to step up today. I need Ampadu to be him, play like him. I need Joe Rodon as well to be him. We need Bogle and Firpo. Bogle's got criticism. He needs to prove them people wrong. Matteo Joseph, everyone wants him to start. He needs the goals today. Nanto as well. What a player to have at this level. Let's be honest. He could have ridiculous numbers for us this season. Step up. And Dan James needs to be his aggressive self and getting on the goals. We need heart for me, Joe. We need heart today.
Lucky, do you have a question mark around leadership in the group?
Massive. I don't know. Look, like I said, it's been 2 games, and I think pre-season we look very organised. The leaders was talking. Keep going, Lee.
Sorry.
Never say never, Lee. You know what I mean?
Never say never. As long as there's a chance, Lee. Sorry, Lucky. Go on. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, if you've got a lot of money in Joe, might you know what I mean?
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah, there's a GoFundMe page set up there somewhere, Lee. You can always start dropping money in there. You never know what will happen.
10 grand in there, Lee. You never know. What did you ask me?
Leadership. Yeah, leadership. God, professional outlet here altogether. Yeah, leadership.
Yeah, I think there is a problem. I don't know whether it will be a problem all season, whether it's finding our feet with it because we have a new group of leaders. We've lost all our leaders, and I think that is huge. You know, so much criticism last year for our leaders. I don't even need to mention them because that'll just trigger people. But
Yeah.
we had top professionals who would have held that changing room together. You got a lot of young lads in there, and with young lads that are hungry and arrogant when you're young, you need taming at times, and you need leaders to do that. You need everyone to bring the changing room together, and they've gone. Dallas has gone. Obviously Cooper's gone. Alien's gone. Whether they were right on the pitch doesn't matter. The fact is, you need those characters in a dressing room on the training pitch to set the standard of where you should be. And they've gone, mate. And that's a void. I like Ampadu a lot. He's one of our best players last year. Let's be honest, he's really good. But this is a big.
Well, I want to talk about that, Lucky. Now, again, excuse the crude graphics that you're about to see, because this is just my normal templates, but I want to go through this, and the only way I can do it is by showing it, and I want to do it without having Georgie's little head sticking out the corner and upsetting Lucky. Get rid of him there.
I've got to watch a game without him today, mate. I'm fuming.
I know, yeah. And again, these are crude enough. Just to give you the idea, and what I've been talking about with Ampadu shape, and Lucky, again, you can jump in and tell me what you think. But this is essentially the way Leeds should be lining up as a 4-2-3-1, right? Should be like that. What's happened in recent weeks is, obviously, I'll get rid of the names for a second. We don't need the names. So they've gone up here pretty high. He's gone wide. He's gone wide. And he is just sitting there. He's here. Piro's here. And Joseph is here. And you get this huge gaps either side here to play into. And then the further up the line the fullbacks and the wingers go, you've now got these out balls here into channels. And if you look at the game against Middlesbrough, they all came from here into this area here, straight through the middle of the park. The more Ampadu sits like this, with Gruev gets isolated in the middle, and then Piro is very central and doesn't come back in track. So as long as they line up like that, Leeds are going to be very easy to play through. They've got to keep their shape to send teams around them. They've got to hold that three in the middle like that. If they can do that, for me, they'll be fine. But there's no guarantee that he won't spend most of the game back here. And that needs to stop for me, because it's not helping. It also gets in Rodon's way. It also gets in Stroke's way, and it stops them running out with the ball. And as we've seen with Ampadu, he's very slow in the build-up.
Yeah.
Whereas we saw with Rodon last year, he would burst out of defence with the ball and he'd go running up the park with it. If there was no option to pass, fine, I'll do it myself. If everyone's man-marked, that means there's space to run into. And I'm going to run into the space. So we saw that with him last year. And this year, what we've seen so far is this really narrow midfield. What are your thoughts on that? Am I seeing that? Have you noticed that? Or am I just going absolutely nuts?
Yeah, I understand the Ampadu drops in. You just kind of go to a back three. But one thing that does happen is when the fullbacks go up, the wingers cut in, they come in. And usually Georgie would drop to try and make that 8 role with Gruev in there. But the problem is when the fullbacks go up, like you said, Ampadu's central of the back three there, and usually on the right of the back three with Rodon in the middle, then Strauch on the left. But so the fullbacks go up, the wingers cut in. But to have inverted wingers, you need players who can comfortably play that role. Dan James isn't. Yeah, he's a winger. He's best as wide as possible on the last man, ball over the top. That's when Dan James is very, very effective. Willie Gnonto is an inverted winger, but he's not as comfortable centrally for me. He can do that, but it's not like, look at the Norwich side, Buendia and Cantwell, who did the exact same thing, could play centrally easily. Very comfortable in there. And we don't have that. So when Ampadu drops and they go up, the three in the middle are Gruev, Gnonto and Rutter. And that's a problem because, again, Gruev isn't a progressive 8, so there's no progression there. He doesn't move around quick enough. He doesn't find little pockets. Rutter then had all the responsibility because Gnonto wouldn't drop so deep. He'd stay quite high. Dan James would usually stay high. So it is a problem because you don't have the right profiles to do it. If we had that 8 and a really technical 10, then suddenly you're finding these spaces in there, aren't you? And it looks about promising. And then you've got threats everywhere because you've still got the fullbacks really high. But we don't. So it does kind of just go wide anyway, regardless of what we do. And that's a bit of a problem for me, yeah. We need to find a way around that. And that's with recruitment. We need the right players. We don't have them to play that.
Player link this morning, we've heard a bit about for a while. There's been rumours that a certain name was on a list of people that Leeds might be interested in, but we all assumed the money would be too much, it would be too hard to get him, and that's Jack Clark. Mike McGrath, who has a decent enough track record, said this morning, but it's kind of a nothing thing as well. It's like as I said last week about Jonathan Rowe. Team Talks exclusive went from Leeds haven't bid to Leeds are preparing to bid, which meant Leeds still hadn't actually bid. So the exclusive in Team Talk last week was Leeds had moved from not bidding for a player to still not bidding for a player. And for all intents and purposes, Leeds have yet to bid for that player. But Jack Clark's been mentioned this morning. Yeah, but the story says Leeds are aware of Jack Clark. I'm like,
aware of him.
They should be. He came through the youth academy. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's one of the best players in the division. You should be aware of him. But we have heard that he's on a list, and it might be a player that Leeds would look at bringing back to the club and bringing in. Is he a player of a profile that you think Leeds would need to try and fill the gaps, knowing full well you can't replace a Cree and knowing full well you can't replace a Georgie man for man?
Well, when you look at the wingers in this league who are still here, the two that could arguably do that job are Clark and Rowe. You know, they're the standout wingers. I'll be honest, I'll say this now before any of them sign. If any of them did sign, I would prefer Clark to Rowe. I think there's more of a sample size there. Rowe's had one very good season. And let's be honest, it was half season because he got injured and weren't as good when he came back. So that's a small profile. I still think he's a very good player, don't get me wrong. But Jack Clark's done it twice, 2 seasons in a row as well at this level, very consistently, very good player. My issue with Jack Clark is Premier League. I'm convinced it's one of them where we agree a fee, he does the medical, he's on the way to the medical, then suddenly there's a hijack. Wolves, Crystal Palace, Everton, all these names that are still looking for wingers come in. Like Aaron's did last year, the same situation. That worries me because I think there's a lot of teams in the Prem still who would love a player like that. He's also English, so the English quota, it helps in that sense as well. If teams are struggling with that, it'd be very. If we got him, honestly, Jay, if we got him, that would be unbelievable signing. I think he's been really good the last 2 seasons, and he is a left-sided player who can cut in on the right and hit one like some of the. But I'm convinced. I hope I'm wrong. I'm trying to copy myself here, but I'm convinced a Premier League side comes in.
Do you wonder, though, the fact that he didn't have a successful time in the Premier League when he went there? Now, yes, he was very young when he went there, but it didn't work. Do you think that's just what's stopping a couple of Premier League clubs from having a look right now and maybe looking at other options? Because he's not a proven entity in the Premier League and he's been there and it hasn't worked. And he had that huge period between going out on his first loan from Spurs, which is back to us, ironically enough. But from then till when he signed for Sunderland, it didn't work for him at any club.
No, I agree. I think it's fair to say, because he's still at Sunderland, that he's not number one list on any Premier League side. I think that's fair to say. So let's hope these Premier League teams do get their number one list wingers. And they don't have to go for second or third where Jack Clark might appear, And the fee, what will the fee be? That's another question. No one knows. It's all hearsay. Everyone's making stuff up. People saying 20 million, but last 2 weeks, the window, are someone going to turn down maybe?
Sammy Smolix was 20 million. He went for 10.
Exactly, mate. It's you never really know. So I don't know about that. I'm not going to get too into that because you just don't know, do you? Let's be honest. But yeah, there is obviously hesitation there. He's still at Sunderland. He's still there. But I'm still, the last week of the window, Prem teams suddenly panic. They need a certain type of player. Jack Clark's there for, say, 10 to 15 million for a Premier League side. Snap him up, don't you? I'm worried about that one for that sense. I don't think, and I think the recruitment team will know this. They can't spend too much time figuring this one out. It's got to be simple as, can we get him? Probably not. Right. Let's probably move on because I don't want it to go a week down the line and then we've agreed a fee and then a Prem team goes out, we'll have him now. And then we're a week behind without the winger,
Yeah, and that's the concern. I want to talk about the bench as well, Lockie, because there is more than one change to the bench. We've seen Charlie Crew comes in to replace Jorginho Rutter, but we also see no Max Verber on the bench, and we see James DeBoyo come in to replace. Oh no, Verber is on the bench. Sorry, see James DeBoyo come onto the bench as well. There was question marks around Verber's had a potential calf injury, which may be some of the reason why he wasn't what you would have expected to see from him against Middlesbrough. Do you feel Verber's performance was more so down to maybe the atmosphere in the ground at the time, and being his first game back at the club and
God.
knowing full well what people think? Or do you think there was an injury that impacted that a little bit?
I think look, football's Carry Knox. Joe Rodon played last season, predominantly limping for most of it, and just got told to carry on by Daniel Farker because he's Welsh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It happens, mate. You know, I've all played. You always play with Knox, don't you? It's part of it. You just take a painkiller and get on with it. So
Exactly.
yeah, he might have been. He might have been, but at the end of the day, to get Leeds fans to accept him, he has to put in a good performance. That's what it'll take. And if he keeps coming on and putting in a bit of a stinker, he's just not going to grow. So he has to get over that. That's the fact of it. He made the decision last year to leave. He's now got to come in like Aaronson's trying to do. He's still not there, Aaronson, but he's getting there, I think. He scored that goal, you know, he made an impact. Whoever's got to come in and just, when he plays, just do good and just try. I'm not one to call out weight. I don't do that. But I do think he isn't conditioned as well as he was last season, let's just say. There's still a bit in conditioning to go for him. I think he looks a little slower than he usually does. What's that down to? I don't know. Maybe he's not happy. You know, you can't think of these things, but he doesn't look match fit. That's my worry. And I hope he's motivated and I hope he wants to improve himself and get better because we need him. He's here still. He's part of the club. He is our third choice centre back. We need him.
According to Tony Dorigo, he is Tony Dorigo said in the Square Ball yesterday that he's spoken to Vobert and he's here for the year. He's committed.
Right.
And so you just have to assume
he's got to look that. He's got to play like that now. Yeah. He has to get over this. These fans booing him, and like whether you agree with that or not. The fact is, one good performance, and I think most of that will stop. They might not ever like him, and that's fair enough, obviously, for what he did. But all it takes is one decent performance.
One good game.
Yeah, one header from a corner, you know, one tackle, one decent tackle. You know, that's what he's got to do, and he can't come on the pitch and play like he played. I bet it's hard. Like, I can't imagine being at Ellen Road and everyone hates you, but you got to get over it at some point, mate.
You do. There are some returns today as well to Leeds. We see a return of two Dex players, Kyle Bartley as well as Alex Mowat. Alex Mowat, player I used to love when he played for Leeds.
Yeah.
Made a decent start for himself. He's doing really, really well with Corberan at West Brom. West Brom, they're on the bench today, but Jed Wallace and Dean Ganna return after injury, which will strengthen their entire squad. But they had a very good opening day, winning it away to QPR, 3-1 win. They obviously lost to Fleetwood in the Cup during the week, but they did start the league with a win. What are you expecting to see from a Carlos Corberan side? Because for me, Lockie, I think some of the issues we had against Middlesbrough could be exploited by a Carlos Corberan side if we do it again.
Yeah, one thing they will be is very organised. Very organised. There is a rogueness and a bit of a sense of, at times in games, a bit of wildness in Carlos Corberan's sides. They do go a bit AWOL every now and again. They do that. You know, they take some silly risks and stuff like that. But I'll look at that team there just from the 1 to 11. That is a very hard-working industrial side. There's no like standout player that goes, it's going to tear us apart. It's 11 players there that will work their backside off. I mean, look at Malumbi, Mowat in midfield.
I was going to say, if you don't get a grip in the middle of the park, Malumbi and Mowat will dictate the game.
A bully, yeah. Swift as well. Really good player, really smart player. I really like Swift. He'd have been a great option for us, in my opinion.
We've looked at him numerous times. His name has popped up as a linked player to Leeds for years, but he never actually ended up at Leeds. But he's, as you say, I mean, that's a decent, strong, hard-working midfield. So if we're not there...
Yeah, finished. Yeah, Madge just got a hat-trick as well last week.
Yeah.
So, a striker in form, you know. We want one of them, so we need ours to do that. It's a good team, mate. Like I said, there's no individual that goes, oh, he's unbelievable. But it's a proper, hard-working side that will be very organised. Carl Bartley, we know, is a leader. Ajayi is a good defender. Furlong, very good. Well, not very good, but a very solid fullback. Good midfield, yeah. And Madge with a hat-trick. So, yeah. Tough game, mate.
What did they say? The old saying, win the battle first.
Yeah.
Earn the right to play football. And that's what we have to do. We have to get out and...
Do we have that battle?
That's the question. That's the question mark. Do Leeds have it in them to win a battle? Do Leeds have the head, the character? That's what's going to come out now. Is going to be, does this team have the character? Because for me, if Jorginho's absence during the week or potential future absence came out during the week, and that affected the squad as badly as it maybe it did, there's a question mark for me around character in that dressing room. Because for certain players, there was an opportunity to grab the opportunity by the teeth and go like, "This is mine now. That's my spot." And the outside of Joe Rothwell, I don't think anybody did. I thought they all looked fairly average in that game. So
I was just going to mention, because you're right, and I saw a loose link, and I want to play like this. I saw the James Milner link. That was completely lift the floor for me. Play like that. He's won everything, and he's been the captain.
Is he
of
not
the
too
top
old,
teams.
Lucky?
Honestly, Joe, I want a leader in that side. He signed a new contract last year, right? He look at Pepe, the Euro. The players can do it these days. And I'm not saying he'd start, but I want him there. I want him at the club. We need a player like that. That these young lads need to understand what's got the situation. When it's bad, how to get out of it. He's won everything. He'd be perfect for us. I genuinely believe that. He'd be perfect. Like I said, not necessarily a starter. Might not even play. But I still think he will, because he's a very, very good athlete. He still wins bleep tests at 38.
Yeah, he won it this year again. And if he starts today, or he plays today for Brighton, he will set the record of the most amount of Premier League games ever in history. So I remember Gordon Strachan and Ryan Giggs were going head to head for that at one point, and when they were both playing, one was for Leeds, one for Scum. They were playing. There was this whole conversation of who's going to have the most amount of games. Gary Speed at one point was in that bracket as well as the most amount of games in a Premier League player. So I would say, look, I'm with Gavin on this. He's 38, but I suppose the flip side to that coin is he's still in a Premier League squad right now, and they're still planning on using him. So
last season when he played, he still looked fine.
We talked a lot last year, Lucky, about the likes of Stuart Dallas, Luke Ayling, and Liam Cooper, and again, without triggering people wanted Cooper out of the club. A lot of people wanted Luke Ayling to go, said he was finished and he should go, and he was done, and that's been proven to not be the case with Luke Ayling. And we said there is a benefit to having those characters still at the club, maybe not on the pitch, but very much around the dressing room. This season so far, they're all gone.
Yeah.
And there's a fragility to that squad that we didn't see last year. I mean, you wonder, is it the lack of these experienced leaders that were in the dressing room? Because I know from when I played, dressing rooms that had very senior figures in the dressing room did a lot of the work for the manager. They would do an awful lot. Like when we would come in for halftime, if it wasn't going well, before the manager ever got to the dressing room, one of those lads was already doing a team talk, was already sorting this stuff out, getting people to shut up, sit down, calm down, relax, doing the basic kind of stuff just to get everyone just to chill out for a minute. And then the manager would come into a calmer dressing room. So they do add a lot, and we don't have that anymore. And you're looking at Ethan Ampadu stepping up and being the leader, Ilan Meslier stepping up and being the leader, and Pascal Struijk stepping up and being the leader. But one of those three, Ampadu, and then you add Joe Rowan to that, seems to have this constant need to keep telling everyone else to calm down when they appear to be the only player that's wound up at that time. Like Joe does it all the time. It's like, slow it down, calm it down. You're like, do you need to? And I think that they're going to need to step up massively in the next couple of weeks, at least until the window's closed and Leeds get what they need in.
Yeah, there is a disconnect between what the older, the more experienced players want and the younger guys want. Like I said, every time you look at Joe Rodon and say, slow down, look at the wingers. They look frustrated by that. They're annoyed. I wish, Chris. I wish, mate. I mean, look, he's still there. He's signed a new contract in Bundesliga 2. He's getting, man, that's crazy. But I don't know why no one has. It's mental. But you need someone to set the standard, Joe. And James Milner or a player like that, would set that standard more than you can believe. He's won everything. No young player with an ego can go to James Milner and tell him to shush. He's won everything. He's done everything in his career that these young guys want to do. I'm not thinking the young guys here because every young footballer is the same. They want to achieve everything. They think they know more than the older guys. James Milner can tell you know nothing about this game. I scored against Liverpool when I was younger than you. You know nothing. I've won the Champions League. I've won the Premier League. I've won everything. We need that standard, mate. I'd go all out for him. I genuinely would. I say all out. I mean, I'm not all out as in I pay money for it.
Free transfer.
I'd
free
try
transfer.
And convince him. Yeah. Anything. I'd try and convince him. I would. But Brighton signed a lot of players.
Have you?
I don't know. I love it.
Folks, let me know in the comments your score predictions for today. We're going to start wrapping things up now. Lockie, what do you want to see from Leeds, and what do you think the score is going to be?
I want to see high tempo, and I want to see heart. I want to see heart today. They need to give them fans and the manager and themselves belief, and they need heart. It's going to be a tough game. The score, I think we'll draw. I think if we find the right cogs, we can get a win here because we have really good players. We still do. But I think from that, it's going to be tough. I'll go over 1-1, mate. I always win. I always think you win, by the way. So this is, for me, this is bad.
I'm trying to stay positive. I'm going for 2-1 win. I'm with Lee on this. Okay. Well, not quite with Lee. So you're not getting an invite to the wedding now, Lee. You didn't predict the same score as me, so you can forget about it now, mate. Yeah, 2-1. I'm going to go 2-1. I still think we'll concede because I still think there's frailties there that need to be addressed. Brenda's got it on the money, so you can come to the wedding. Lee can't. There you go. That's been sorted. A boring 1-1 draw. Let's get away from the boring football. Yeah, I want to see a tempo from Leeds. I want to see us start, and I want to see us start with intensity, and I want to see us keep that up. And I keep saying to people, that doesn't mean we run around like headless chickens for an hour. No. That means that we move the ball quickly. We keep on moving the ball. We keep recycling it fast. No standing on the ball in the halfway line. No pointing fingers. No telling everyone to chill out. Move the ball. Get it moving. Get Leeds moving, and let's get a score early in the game, and then push on, dictate the game, and we'll see how we go. But that's what I want to see from us. We are at our absolute very best when we move the ball quickly, and we are at our absolute very worst when we put our foot on it and we slow the game down. So for me, that's what I want to see. I know everyone's a bit down. You can see it. The score predictions aren't as confident last week. This time last week, we were saying 7-0, 5-0. All the big scores because we were all super confident. And people did say last week, and we did say it on this, maybe we were a little bit overconfident after saying preseason. After saying things like, let's not get carried away with preseason, me included, got carried away with preseason and then thought we're just going to smash teams now, and we didn't. But I still think there was enough quality in that team for us to win this game. Just on Andrew's score prediction there, if Leeds concede another 3 today, there's a problem. And there will be serious, exciting game, but that will be 9 goals in 3 matches. That's not good. But let's hope that doesn't happen. Folks, on your way out, smash the like, give it a bit of a boost. We'll be back on Monday for a match review as well as the news. Nothing tomorrow. And there is a redirect in place for this for Joe's show over on his channel. So as soon as we wrap up now in a second, you can head over and get ready to do your watch along with Joe if you want some company for the game. When you get there, just stick it in the chat. Say J-Raid, just let them know that you popped over. I mean, Lucky, say hi. Lucky, thanks very much for popping in and joining me this morning. I really appreciate it. Let's see how it goes. Let's hope for a good result today. Just lifts everyone a little bit. Get a couple of signings during the week, and then we might just be okay. I'm not doing rants and raving about the 49ers just yet, because the problem with that is you could be very wrong in the next 2 weeks. There's still 2 weeks. If the work hasn't been done, I was on BBC last night and I said it on that channel as well. They have 2 weeks left to prove themselves right. Then we judge it. And then we'll talk about whether they've done the right thing or not. But we'll wait and see. A lot can be done today to ease the mood. And then a couple of smart signings during the week, a bit of movement there. I think we'll all be in a much calmer position come this time next week, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Hopefully. Right, folks, thanks very much for joining us.
Leave again, can he? So.
No, he can't. No. Somebody else could, but let's leave it on that. Right, folks, have a great day. Fingers crossed, 3 points. Enjoy the match, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.
Bye, everyone.